Welcome to History Reminds Us. In today's episode, we're going to discuss the Battle of Monmouth, which occurred on June 28th, 1778. Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you guys enjoy this content and would like to see more content like this. Background to the Battle of Monmouth. General George Washington and his American army spent the winter of 1777 and 78 at Valley Forge in considerably straitened circumstances. As the winter wore on, the supply situation was brought under control, and something approaching a proper use of equipment and rations was made to the American troops. During the 1777 and 78 winter in Valley Forge, the Persian officer General Steuben established a system of military training for the American regiments, teaching them a form of Persian battle drill adapted to suit American troops. The British Army spent the winter in Philadelphia. Lieutenant General Howe returned to England, relieved of his appointment in command in America at his own request, to be replaced by Lieutenant General Sir Henry Clinton. Clinton was under orders to evacuate Philadelphia, concentrated the British forces in New York. On June 18, 1778, Clinton's British Army, with artillery, supplies, and the loyalist populace of the city, left Philadelphia and began the laborious march cross-country to the northeast. Hearing that British were on the move, General Washington marched his army east from Valley Forge, seeking to intercept the slow-moving British column. He did so at Monmouth Courthouse. The account at Battle of Monmouth. Clinton's intention, in accordance with his orders, was to march to New York. The first week of the march convinced him that his army with its train was too cumbrous to make the journey by land. In addition, it was reported that General Gates was moving from the Hudson River Valley with his American army to block the British retreat. Clinton decided to divert to the coast and take ship. At Allentown, his British and German army branched off the main route towards Monmouth to head northeast. General Washington hurried his army forward to intercept the British withdrawal. An advance force of some 4,000 American troops was allocated to attack the marching British army and cut it in half. Washington offered the command of his assault to Major General Charles Lee. Initially, Lee refused the appointment, lacking confidence in the success of the plan. When the force was increased to 5,000 men and given to Marquis de Lafayette, Lee changed his mind and insisted on having the command. Lee's task was to attack the British column and flank and delay it, so the main American army could come up and give battle. The weather was unsettled, high daytime temperatures giving away heavy rainstorms. On June 28, 1778, suspecting that Washington intended to attack his army in strength, General Clinton ordered General Napson to begin his march up the Middletown Road to the north that day at 4 a.m. Warned by Dickinson and his New Jersey militia that Clinton's army was on the move, Washington ordered Lee to attack and delay the British march until he could bring up the main strength of the American army along the Monmouth Road. Lee laid to the west of Middletown Road and was expected to deliver an attack on the slow-moving British column. Properly executed, such an attack would have halted the British march to the northeast and enabled the main American army under Washington to attack Clinton's army in the rear. Lee gave no proper orders to his commanders and permitted them to attack as they saw fit. Skirmishers with parties of British troops took place as Lee's forces moved tentatively forward towards the Middletown Road. Confused, fighting broke out with Clinton's rear guard, largely composed of British regiments. Finally, Lee ordered his troops to retreat on the main American army. As Lee withdrew down the road, Clinton launched his troops in pursuit. General Washington, bringing the main American army along the Monmouth Road, encountered not the rear of the British column, but Lee's regiments, retreating and considerably disordered, with the British advancing behind them. This is said to be the one occasion that Washington swore. He unleashed a volley of oaths at Lee, to the admiration of those listening before ordering Lee to the rear. Washington then galloped forward and began the task of rallying Lee's disordered troops. Washington ordered General Wayne with the last of Lee's regiments, Stewart's 13th Pennsylvania and Ramsey's 3rd Maryland, to form to the north of the road and hold the British advance. These regiments resisted strongly but were driven back by the British 16th Light Dragoons. Their stand gave Washington the time to form the rest of the American army, with artillery on Combs Hill to the south of the road, and flatting the attacking British foot. Fierce fighting took place as the British attempted to drive back the American line. This was the first test for Steuben's newly trained American Continental regiments of foot, and they withstood the trial well. As the evening wore on, the British troops fell back and returned to their journey north, leaving the Americans on the field. The casualties of the Battle of Monmouth: the British suffered some 300 casualties, and the Americans 350. Up to 100 men are thought to have died of heat stroke during the battle. During the march from Philadelphia, Clinton's army lost around 550 deserters, of whom 450 were from the Hayson regiments. This is a striking figure. In the course of a few days, Clinton lost the equivalent of a battalion